Are you handy? Can you fix things? Can you tell me when my microphone's not working? I want to hear about your handyman acuity right after this. Oh, that was ugly. Here's what you don't know. After I get off the live stream, what I do is I mute my mic. I turn on this monitor I have over here, which is literally a stage monitor. So when I'm doing editing or watching other videos, I hear it through that and I don't have to wear headphones. Well, I forgot tonight. Isn't that nice? At any rate, welcome to the Video Call-In Show, that show that invites you to be a live video guest on this program to talk about anything you wish. Now, joining is very easy. All you've got to do is point your browser to zoom.us, click on join a meeting, and enter in the meeting ID number right there. When it asks for it, you will show up in my green room and I will take you first come, first served. I hope everything is going okay tonight. I know that there have been some interwebs problems of late, and people have been getting kicked off quite a bit. Good. How you doing, Ben on Adventures? Welcome to the show, my friend. You missed my horrible opening, I hope. It happens. Now, today, I wanted to talk about, since I've been on this planet for a good long time, and I know a thing or two, to borrow a farmer's insurance tagline, I've done a few things here and there. And most of them have come from scratch, virtually scratch. Some I've learned, along the way. Others have come as necessity dictates, and others I literally have learned via YouTube or something like that. I'll get to you right just in a second here. Now, it all started when I was a very young man, and I was beginning to race motorcycles. So my father thought, well, we need to learn how to work on small engines. So he and I took an adult class on small engine rebuild, and we worked on our motorcycles from then on. That for me moved into everything, right? I've rebuilt just about any kind of engine you can think of, and got into woodworking. Just a whole bunch of. Oh, it's an inspired John raid. Awesome. How you doing, John? Good to see you. Was blind. Good to see you as well. Patty Broussard, welcome to the show. And there's Emmanuel Gaffi. Welcome to the show, my friend. Welcome to the show. We are talking about how handy you might be or not. It doesn't matter if you're handy or not. I want to hear just where you fall on that spectrum. Inspire raid. I love that. Well, I could wax poetic about this for hours if I had to. And I don't want to make this all about me, because some of the things that I've done, well, I'm awfully proud of, but well, yes, I do like to throw them around. I was just going to say that I don't really like to flaunt it, but I do. But I'm going to hold back a little bit. I do want to show you this. This is a wonderful photo. I don't know if I've ever shown this on the air before, but this happens to be the first and only dock that I've built, and a swim platform down at a cabin that we used to rent mainly for hunting purposes, but we were actually making it to become more of a recreation area. So on the main lake there, which is probably about a 2-acre lake, it's not all that big. My son and I built that dock out of lumber you can buy at any hardware. Well, actually, a lot of that came from my old deck top, but the posts were actually sunk with old wheels and tires, filled with nothing but mud and muck. That's how it stays down. The swim platform had the 55-gallon food grade barrels underneath it, and it had ladders on either side. It was tethered. It was actually fantastic. How you doing, Miscast Entertainment? Welcome to the show. I was just showing off a bit. Trying not to, but I was. Having said that, hey, Nomadic Bike, welcome to the show, my friend. Yeah, that was an awesome picture. We went down there, and it actually snowed that night as well. So the next day was better. We just didn't get down there to take another picture, because it was just down the hill about a quarter mile from the actual cabin itself. It just never got to that. So rather than continue to toot my own horn, let's bring up our first guest. Can you hear me, my friend?
Hello.
Hey, how
Hello.
you doing, buddy?
The
Hey.
answer is yes.
The answer is yes. What was the question? I'm
I can fix things.
Oh, you can. Tell us about them, not a great gamer.
Um, I can use a hammer. I can use a screwdriver. I can use a spirit level.
Cool. Awesome. You'd be amazed at how many people just cannot.
It's true.
Yeah.
I'm left-handed, so that makes things even more difficult.
Oh, yeah, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. It is a right-handed world after all, unfortunately, but unfortunately for you left-handers.
I need to zoom out. The camera on Zoom is so powerful.
That's a good distance. So how does the evening find you tonight, my friend?
Um, well, rotation of the Earth. I had no choice.
Find you alive? Find you in pretty much the same place? Hey, just like the rest of us. Uncanny.
Just like the rest. Oh, sorry, dude. I've been on another panel a minute ago, and it was nowhere near as well, we can even see the hole where the plaster's come off of the wall. That's awkward. I haven't fixed that.
Oh, you haven't?
Not yet.
Hmm. Yeah, that's better.
No, no, it's not. I do apologise. I didn't know the zoom was going to be there. That will have to do.
There you go. No, that looks
I'm a
good.
bit of an unusual colour as well.
Yes, yes, of course. But we're not attributing it to any sort of uh, non-human material. We wouldn't do that.
Indeed. Um. So what? Like, can I give you a list of things I fixed before?
You can absolutely give me a list of things you fixed before.
Table.
Okay. I'm not supposed to be writing these down, am I?
That's,
Okay, good.
yeah, that's about it.
Oh, just a table. Well, hey, you're one up on everyone who's never worked or fixed a table before.
I agree. I once changed a light bulb.
Awesome. Well, did you go to LED or CFL or back?
Sorry,
That's
sorry.
okay.
Oh no, I need like I do it every time, and I love you, dude. And it's just like, you must be sitting there thinking, oh, not again.
No, I'm just like I'm going to let him go with this as long as as far as he wants to go with it.
No, I wouldn't. I'd try, dude. I'd try.
Well, there's a
Um,
joke in there somewhere, right?
yeah, I'll be honest with you. I do like to. I'm more of an. This is going to sound hypocritical. I can use my head and devise plans, but I'm not so good as to do them with my hands. Um, I have built things in the past, like sheds
Hmm.
uh, and whatnot, but I don't know. Some people don't realise how much, should we say, patience little like woodwork, for example, can take. And you
Yeah,
no,
an extraordinary
uh,
amount in some cases
yeah,
because I
uh,
do a lot with wood,
yes,
a lot.
yes. I saw with that. You call it a dock, we call it a pier.
Yeah, we call them peers as well, but I think peers in the U.S. are probably more long than wide, and a
Yeah,
dock
that
would
was
yeah, and a
we,
dock would be
we
more square or wider than it is long.
that may
Right?
even be called a swim, even because you could fish from it.
Oh
And
yeah, oh yeah. And the best part about that dock, let me pop that up here real fast. If you can imagine a black lab running full steam from the land straight off of that after a ball and shooting out at about 20 feet before he hits the water, then you know what summer swimming fun is in the good old state of Indiana.
how deep is that lake?
I don't even know. Well, I could probably guesstimate because the swim platform out in the center we actually anchored down with a cinder block and some nylon rope, and I want to say it was near 20 feet deep. which is not all that deep, but
It's deep enough. It's enough to yeah, it's
yeah,
deep enough. I don't like knowing what's beneath me.
yeah, and we never did explore that. No goggles.
Maybe you could build a submarine next.
Well, if we only had that damn thing, we don't have that property anymore. They sold it to some loggers. We totally lost it.
Oh,
Yeah,
you have no lake at all.
don't have a lake at all now. Nope, we are
Oh,
lakeless.
welcome to my world.
Oh, I'm in good company. Yeah, there are a lot of people that don't. We were lucky to have it. I mean, it was cheap. It was about 150 acres, backed up to the Hoosier National Forest. So on the west side, there wasn't anybody for miles, or even north and south for that matter, except for a couple small properties. So it was isolated as hell, and that was a natural spring-fed lake, as a matter of fact. It was just beautiful, just beautiful.
Natural spring fed. Oh, yeah, that would have been usually the natural spring fed. That might have probably even been deeper than 20 foot actually in its deepest point.
You might be right. The only way the only thing I have to go on is getting that out there and lowering that cinder block in that particular area. So it could be
So,
much lower down where the spring is.
so you used to swim around that lake, not
Oh,
knowing what was
sure.
beneath you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
What about Jaws?
Well, we don't worry about Jaws here in the Midwest.
Jaws, 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 Jaws.
Yeah. Nope. Especially in 20 foot of water. If it can hold a 25-foot great white in there, I'd be happy to be eaten by it
Na, 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 na.
because I'm going to make the national news.
You would.
Oh,
There
by the
might be
way,
pike in there.
oh, there could be. You don't normally see. Well, yeah, there are pike down further south than where I'm at, but yeah, I bet there was some pike. Maybe some walleye, but it was mainly full of bass, crappie, and bluegill, and sunfish,
Oh,
and
yeah,
a lot of
the
grass
freshwater
carp.
sharks.
What's
Oh,
that?
grass carp was
Yeah,
that?
they're like 3 foot long in that thing too. It was amazing. There's about six of them, and they would travel in packs.
I've always wanted to see a rainbow trout.
Oh, they are beautiful. We used to go fishing for trout up in Washington State in the beautiful Northwest.
Yes.
Yeah, both rainbow and brown. That is fun fishing.
Brown trout in the UK is also a turd.
Oh, no kidding.
Fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, any viewers watching?
Got to go drop a brown trout.
Yeah, you got to go and do a brown trout.
Oh man.
But I actually built a fishing rod when I was a kid.
Oh, you did?
Yes,
Sweet.
and it snapped.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
So I built another one, and that snapped. This is no joke.
Uh,
So then my granddad built me one, and that hasn't snapped
Cool.
because I haven't used it.
Well, that's wonderful, man. I actually did the same thing, and I even tried to catch fish on a like a safety pin because that's all I had at the moment. It didn't work.
Safety pin.
Yeah, like you'd use on the old diapers of ages ago. Does
What
that
did you
help?
put like a bit of chicken on it or something?
No, just whatever worm I could find under whatever rock I could turn over.
Here you go. This is completely. I will go back to DIY in a second, but since you
Sure.
brought up fishing, what's your views on barbs?
On barbs,
Barbed hooks.
barbed hooks, I don't have any problem with them because I know how to take them out without injuring the fish.
But what do you believe about because like fishermen lose them in lakes, or whatever, and then they can end up in kids' feet and such?
Yeah, yeah, that can be a problem, but that's more of a fisherman problem than it is a hook problem. If you're using if you're well, everybody's going to lose a hook. Everybody's going to lose a hook, but that says more about your rigging than it does about the barbed hook itself. I guess it's okay to have barbless, but barbed hooks are not hard to get out of a human being at all. Ask me how I know. All you've got to
Oh,
do is pop the
push it
eyelid
through.
off, yeah, and push it through. Yeah, you just cut it
Yeah,
with
yeah,
some
but
snips and push it through.
not all of us are men.
That's true. That is true.
Makes,
Yeah.
it makes me cry.
It makes a lot of people cry.
May I ask what you did in the military also? I found out you served. I wish to know.
Oh, I was a multi-channel communications equipment supervisor
Indeed.
in the 9th
And
Signal Battalion, Fort Lewis, Washington.
ooh,
Hoorah.
who? I can't say that. I'm not allowed. I was going to, but then I realised, yeah, I'm not allowed to say that. And what's hoorah's a Marine, isn't it?
Marines are hoorah. Well, yeah, but it is just kind of a military term. We actually said it a lot in the Army.
Oh, so you was in the army.
Hmm.
Did you ever go abroad?
No, I've said this 100 times before. I gave them six perfectly good years to start a war, and they decided not to do it. But I was ready.
Okay, dude.
Yeah, anytime you go in, and if you're not aware of what you're actually training, because you're literally training for war. No matter what you're doing in the military, you're training for war. And if you're not willing to go to war and you volunteered, then you've made a grave mistake.
Yeah, they can throw you in prison, can't they, for refusing to soldier? Well, they can
Oh
in
yeah,
the UK,
yeah, they can here too. Yep, Leavenworth.
but they wouldn't let me into the army because of my head ain't right. They actually said that, so let's not go there.
Okay, we don't have to go there.
I had to go home and solve fixed tables instead.
But you did you did actually try,
I did.
did you? Well, see that in and of itself is worthy of praise. I applaud anybody who gave it a shot, right? Even if they did make it in for whatever reason.
They just said, "Nah, you're not mentally stable enough, mate," and
Sorry,
then that was it.
sorry to hear that.
It doesn't matter. It's their loss.
It wasn't the headphones, was it?
Imagine this in the mask running towards you with a 5.56. You'd be pooing yourself.
What mask?
So, oh well,
I don't see a
you've got to wear
mask.
something bulletproof, haven't you, over your
Oh,
face when you're running?
I think I'd be
But
more frightened of the headphones.
oh, I actually put these on to give you a clearer quality sound. So because you say the sound cuts out if I use my other microphone.
It does. And don't you agree that it sounds, see how much nicer a conversation we can have? I don't have to wait and uh, for you to speak. Otherwise, I would, or we wouldn't be able to hear you.
Well, unfortunately, I do not notice because I am talking. If
Well, yeah, there is that.
that makes sense. But I did I watched the playback of the thing we did the other day,
Our
and that
time
was
together, our first time together.
oh, it was romantic. When you saw me in full HD.
Yes, yes, it wasn't nearly as ominous as it is now.
No, but I am getting a new camera soon, which will be much more megapixelated,
Oh, cool.
therefore better imagery for all.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Oh, hang on. Hello, Miscast Entertainment. Unfortunately, I am mid-chat right now, but I will get back to you later. Good day to you, sir. I'm back.
Well, while we're at that, I did say hello to Miscast Entertainment. I want to say hello to Jimmy C and friends. Welcome to the
Ooh,
show. Wendell Live. Welcome back, my friend. Arthur Moorhead. Good to see you. He's an old friend of the show. He's been on a couple times. Who else did I see jump in? Drone Kings in Darwin. How you doing, Brad? And we also, Mr. Lodak. How's it going, man? We also had an Inspired John raid earlier. That was cool. Thanks again, John.
so inspiring.
It's so inspiring. Magic Jones. I forgot about Magic Jones. I thought I saw you in here, Jason. Welcome to the show, my friend. If I've missed any of you, I apologize. You know how that goes.
Mm.
See, I want to pay attention. End's running late, but I'm here. Awesome. We'll see Ed over here in a minute from Flashing Your Pan. That's cool. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't tell anybody who sponsored this topic tonight. Who submitted this topic? I will.
Who
I will
sponsored
later.
it?
It was Chrissy from Outdoorsy Gal. Oh, here we'll just go straight to her page real fast if you don't mind. Yep. Tonight's topic
Actually,
brought to
I
you.
do.
Tonight's topic brought to you by Outdoorsy Gal. Oh, thank you, Chrissy. I appreciate it. Stacy Morgan, good to see you again, my friend. Good to see you. Nomadic Bike, you've actually been on the panel. I got to make you a mod. I apologize for that. And I apologize to you, Not a Great Gamer. Where were we?
For what? For what? What are you apologising for?
For taking time out of our conversation here.
No, it's your channel. You can do what you want.
Oh, I know.
Flip the tackle out, spin it around. It's your show.
What I want to do is I want to pay attention to everyone. And right now, you've got the floor, so I'm interested in paying attention to you, my friend.
Oh, everyone hear that? I am the centre of attention
You are.
once more.
You are absolutely the center of the attention.
My insecurity grows evermore.
You really want to wig out? There you go. Take the floor. Take the floor, man. It's all you.
Whoa. Somewhere over the rainbow, sausages fly.
Sweet.
This has got a lot to do with repairing stuff.
What does?
This conversation.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Let me ask you this, actually, a serious question.
Sure.
Countersunk screws, good or bad?
Depends on what you're going to use them for.
Countersinking?
Well, I would say they are a must when you need to countersink. Let's say you want a smooth finish and you're going to backfill the screw hole. You've got to go countersink. That way you get more purchase.
Yes, and what about the risks of wood split?
Well, then you've got to do the math, right? I mean, you wouldn't do it in I say you wouldn't do it in 1/8 inch plywood, and I actually have when I build like cajones. You know what a cajon is?
Yeah, testicles.
No, not cajones. No, a cajon is actually a box drum. You've seen guys sit down on these boxes and playing with their hands. Those are cajones.
I actually saw randomly. Sorry, it was a Persian group who were playing loads of them box drums.
Yeah. It started, I think, in South America, but don't quote me on that. At any rate, the face of it, which is called the tapa, is usually made of 1/8 inch ply or solid wood, and you will secure those with countersunk screws. You've got to be real careful, but you can do it. Wood tear out on the backside is all in how tight you actually need it, how secure that's got to be. Obviously, a panhead would be much better than a countersunk screw, but countersunk screws have their place, especially when the surface is one that you need smooth.
Pilot hole?
Yes. In wood? For me, it's 100% of the time.
Every single time? See, this is what I mean with patience with woodwork. I'd rather just get one bit and go...
I know, and most people would. Now, not to say that I haven't straight drilled, but no, I countersink every time because they are wood fibers and they have grain and they will split no matter how thick or how hard the wood is. So your best bet is to countersink. And you always countersink to the inner shaft of your screw, right?
Shaft.
Yes, every screw's got a shaft. If you look through the spirals, right? I can't remember what those are called right off the top of my head. But if you look through those, you can actually see the actual width of the solid core of the screw. That's what you countersink with. Your drill bit should be that thick. And then the spirals can grab. See, you learned something today.
I already knew.
Oh, okay.
Hence why I asked your view on counter screw and pilot holes themselves.
Ah, yes. Testing me? Are you testing me?
I'm not. No, because I don't mean it disrespectful. You're a man who served this country, and you're a man with older age than I, which means you'll have more knowledge. Which means, for me to say to test you on such a thing would be rather stupid if I actually believed. So.
Well, I usually will admit when I don't know something.
However, if we're talking about sausages or weird shit, then I will win all day long.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when we refer to them as hot dogs.
They're not, right. They need to do a proper sausage emoji on, pardon me, sorry, on YouTube, because all they've got is the hot dogs.
I know. The worst meat on the planet. And I use the term meat loosely.
I know. They actually can be quite refreshing, though. If you get a hot dog and put a bit of ketchup on them.
Oh, yeah.
No mustard.
Oh, I love mustard and ketchup. I'll tell you how to I'm going to use my age again. I'm going to play the age card here. The best hot dog in the world is cooked over a wood fire.
Yeah,
Yep.
I tend to agree.
Yep.
Smoked, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, you don't bury it into the flames. Yeah, you keep it over it and you get it to a nice, I wouldn't say burnt, but a nice crispy texture on the outside. And you throw some cheese and some ketchup and mustard on there, and oh man,
I do love cheese.
oh, I do too.
Stab your sausage as well down lengthwise with a fork, and that way you don't have to cut it in half to check if it's cooked, because the heat will penetrate them holes.
Yes, yes.
Then turn it upside down so the fat drips on the flame. You'll go, and then you're like, yeah, cooking it, and then you get the stick, poke the sausage, and just spin it about for 2 minutes, and it'll be sorted right as rain. Barbecued sausage in 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome.
Oh my God, Nomadic Bike. He brought up spam.
Fried spam.
I might think differently, Bill, if I didn't grow up on spam and macaroni and cheese, which is the devil's food, honestly. Forget the cake. Spam and macaroni and cheese is not fit for a dog. That's just, and it may be because I had it far too many times when I was a kid, but times were tough, and that was a
Spam
cheap
is
ass meal.
cheap food. Spam is a cheap food.
Oh yeah.
However, it's not as cheap as it used to be anymore. It's not.
No, it's grown in popularity.
Yeah, and it's not exactly corned beef as well as the other one. I don't know if you have corned beef over there.
Oh yeah, it all comes back to corned beef. We were just talking about shit on a shingle with Tony on the panel. I don't know if you dropped off or not at that point, but yeah, that's um, corned beef and gravy and on a piece of bread.
Fried corned beef.
Yeah, not a real fan. I mean, I can eat both of them, but I much prefer sausage, gravy, and biscuits.
Oh, sausages.
Oh,
Sausages. But with spam, may I recommend get some breadcrumbs. Just dip it in the breadcrumbs and just fresh. I'm stuttering. Rewind. Beep beep beep. Get some breadcrumbs. Dip it in the breadcrumbs. Take it out of the breadcrumbs and just flash fry it for like 30 seconds each side in the pan. Thin slices. I recommend you try that. It makes spam taste absolutely delightful.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I'm not very good around gas appliances. I have a tendency to burn myself and things. So again, it's one of them things where I preach and not do.
So do as
I
he
do,
says, not as he does.
but I do enjoy. Yeah, well, I ain't even got a gas stove,
Mm.
which makes it even more awkward.
You can still do it on electric, can't you?
It's nowhere near as good.
Oh, really? Hmm. Yeah, I
No.
don't know that I'm going to try that because of my experience with spam, but I'm going to take your word for it, dude.
Okay, well, let's try this. Grab that rifle from behind you and load the lever action for us.
No, not going to happen. Nope, not going to happen.
That's a Springfield, isn't it?
No, it's a Harper's Ferry.
But it is lever action, isn't it?
And no, it's flintlock.
What? Hang on.
Oh yeah. Here.
Oh yes, it is right.
Yeah.
All I could see from here. Sorry, I haven't got my spectacles on. You probably know I wear my glasses.
That's okay. Here, let me.
If you look from a distance, that does look like a lever action rifle because the trigger's sitting right back behind the stock.
Yeah. Here.
Oh, it is a flintlock.
Yep.
Oh, that's also. Yeah, I'd understand why you wouldn't want to grab that. And
yeah, I'm not. I don't even want to fire it actually. See how close I can get to that guy. I'll just be the gun the rest of the program. How's that?
No, you don't have to be.
Yeah, that's about as close as I can get to it.
That's awesome. See, I couldn't. That whole black thing at the top, the actual hammer mechanism, I thought was like shadow or something.
No, well, it is shadow. The because my lights are shining up at it. That is shadow. Kind of gives it a little bit too much depth, I think, but it is. And yes, it is like a musket. Says Miss Cat Entertainment. Absolutely.
It does look like. Because I was just as I was looking at that, I looked at the phone and just typed in liver action, and it does look like an old 1800s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
You see, it's still got an original piece of flint in the hammer as well.
oh no way!
Mm-hmm.
And what year is that from?
1820.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was before the percussion caps even come out, weren't it?
I think so. Yeah. 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 She's an oldie, and one of the crown jewels in my collection.
Prized possession.
Yes, absolutely. Belonged to my grandfather, and I
Oh,
have four other firearms from his collection as well. One is an 1851 Colt Navy revolver.
oh wow.
Now that is a percussion cap. Um, it's an individual cylinder load with bone handles. It's really nice, and it's in its own case. It's got a
What the 1851 is the one with the solid cylinder as well. They didn't have the indent, wasn't it? It was
right.
just a pure cylinder
Yep.
on the
Yep.
very. I'm pretty sure you can still get the ammo for them now.
Oh yeah. Well, it's got a lead mold with it, so I could literally make my own bullets. And oddly enough, it's a 31 caliber.
Have you got the press?
Yeah, well, the press is built in. It's right underneath the barrel, snaps down, and it's got a rod that'll go into each individual barrel as you pack it with ball, powder, and wad.
I thought you had to pack them like with a proper machine,
No,
like a manual. So that was it. So I'm assuming that was back in the day when you wanted to reload, you had to pull the cylinder out and put a new one in.
no, you could do it on the weapon itself. In fact, you're better off if you do it on the weapon. You just put, whatever cylinder hole you're looking or chamber you're looking to fill, you literally put your powder in, put your wad, your ball, and then spin it to where that rod is that comes off the bottom of the barrel. Pack it
Yeah,
and move on to the next one.
I mean mid-battle.
Well, mid battle, see the problem with battle and handguns is that they're not effective. They're better for close quarters combat, and they're usually a last resort. So you would have that on your side as well as your rifle.
Ah, and what others have you got? Pray tell.
Oh, sure. I've got an 1922 Colt Target Master, and it's also a 22. It's a 22 caliber, and it's a beautiful weapon. I've also got I think it's a 1923 Ithaca double barrel shotgun, which you can't find anymore.
They're
Uh,
Greek, aren't they?
Ithaca? No, it's straight out of New York, actually. The
I
Ithaca,
do
New York.
apologise.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, I get the name, but no, and I'm sure Ithaca, New York was probably named after. But no, it was made in Ithaca, New York, and but it's got a cracked stock, and I can't fire it anymore. But I hunted rabbit with that thing all the way up until probably, oh, I don't know, 83, 84, and then I just put it away and haven't shot it since. Once I noticed that the stock was cracked. No, Miscast Entertainment. That Colt has zero rifling. That one there, and the Harper's Ferry has zero rifling, and the Colt, I believe, no, I think it does have rifling.
What, the Colt Target Master?
No, the 1851 Navy revolver.
Oh, that won't have rifling.
Yeah, that's got rifling.
It has got rifling.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, rifling's been out in handguns for much longer than. Well, I mean, they actually experimented with rifling back when they were still held by two hands. The rifles were still held by two hands, usually up against the hip, and lit with a matchstick or a match cord. It wasn't. It was very archaic and didn't do as much as they thought it would be. So they had to wait until machines could do it or machinists who are really good at it before it actually became more commonplace for rifling.
Well, I never would have thought it would have had rifling.
Hmm.
Honest to God.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the 1820 does not. That's a smooth bore, and unfortunately, the barrel's been cut. Can you see that? It's shorter than it should be. That weapon
Yeah.
should be probably, well, it'll be beyond the screen. Yeah. It's probably had a
It, had,
good.
it added a lot of range to it, didn't it? The barrel, and it adds. People don't realise barrel length adds power.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Without rifling, that's the only way you could actually get it, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's actually a good way of making a 22 significantly more power. Just add a bit of a rifle to it, bit of a barrel,
Mm-hmm.
because out of you get these handbag pistols. You'll know more, but these they 22 short, but they pack no power at all because the bullet just flipping comes straight out. I'm just thinking to myself, oh, you might as well just throw the gun at their face and run. But anyway, what do I know? I'm English. We
You
have
got
to use tea bags over here.
tea bags. Give me our money. Don't make me throw this
Yeah,
tea bag at you.
it's red hot. It's just come out of a cup. I'm warning you, it will scald your face. Risk
Oh,
of diabetes as well with all the sugar in it. Be careful.
don't ruin your life, mate.
Might stain your shirt. Might leave a little bruise. That's
Man,
what we have to contend with over here.
there is a comedy routine all around, that could be built all around that.
Oh, tell me about it. It's ridiculous. Have you got anyone else waiting?
I do now, yes.
Oh,
Looks like Easton Music Ministry wants to come aboard real fast.
right, because I know you only keep these ones at an hour, and I have been timing it, and it's already been like 40 minutes, isn't it?
Sure, it has. Well, almost. It's probably been about 35.
Well, can I have you for a few more minutes?
If you've got more to say, absolutely, dude.
Oh, I have plenty of interesting things to say. Uh, um,
Okay. Thank you for that.
I'll stop now. No, I was just gonna say thanks as always for having me. It's a pleasure and really off topic. Really, we started off on building things and then went to guns again.
It's okay. That's the beauty of this show. We don't have to talk about the topic at hand.
Look, I did want to talk about the topic at hand. Like I love the screwdrivers. What I like ratchets, and you spin them and then you twist them and they click, and then you
Sure.
spin them. You can do it one-handed, so it gives you other hand to eat a sausage.
Well, at least you're putting both hands to good use.
Yes. Never waste a hand with woodwork. That's what I say. I also dislike hitting your hand with a hammer.
Yes.
I don't like sawdust,
No.
and I'm not a fan of. Hang on. What's it called? Plywood.
Not a fan of plywood?
Yeah. I
You can
don't
make.
like how it separates sometimes.
Oh, yeah, you're using the wrong plywood. See, plywood can be just a wonderful, wonderful material. You see that? That's all half inch um, B over BB Baltic birch, which means it's virtually defectless. And those are speakers. Those are subwoofers, fully horn loaded, and they
Ooh.
pound. They pound.
I've also never been able to afford half an inch thick plywood, so I will never enjoy the experience luxury of such. Nor will I have BBFABJK wood. But I'm sure for you rich bastards, it's surely enjoyable. However, I have to stick with 5mm plywood over here, which is usually damp.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I have to set you straight. Those sheets of plywood you can actually get over here for about 23 US dollars
Set me straight on what, sir?
on that fact. They're not a rich man's plywood.
Oh, they are rich man's plywood. Come over to the UK. We have an abundance of trees, but we still get taxed on it.
Oh, that sucks.
Please don't think I was having a dig when I said you rich bastards. I call everyone a rich bastard. If you can afford more sausages than I, you are rich. Is that not true?
That is true. That is true. And
How many bedrooms has your house got?
how many does mine have?
Yeah,
4.
exactly. See, so you're like a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I
you wouldn't
can't even do
believe
the maths.
you wouldn't believe what you can buy over here for the same money it would cost you over there.
My dream is to move. I've said this before, haven't I? Move to Texas, get a little ranch in a mountain on the
No.
side, ride a horse about. Well, okay, my dream, move to America. Well, actually, it would be to go to Maryland and do the Route 66 all the way along to the West Coast, being pursued by the police whilst I'm in a Dodge Charger or Challenger from the 70s. I don't care what one. They ain't going to catch me because I'm in fourth gear revving the shit out of it with my supercharger and they're just eating my dust. Bye, Fuzz. I'm not. I can't get stopped by them because they're armed police in America. I'm English. I won't be allowed a gun, so I'll get shot to shit. So I've got to keep miles ahead. So that's my plan. I then get to the West Coast, go down to California, abuse them for a while, hope they like split off. Then I go into Texas, and then I'm gonna like get like a 4 or 5 acres of land and a mountain. I want a mountain, and I just want like a couple of horses and my own little barn and a ranch and all of that. And I just want to be able to sit there in my rocking chair with my 44 revolver on the side and just shoot people's at the feet. Get off my property as they come by. I just do that all day, just all day, and then ride my horse around every couple of hours and go back, rocking chair again, banjo maybe. I'm not even being stereotypical. That would actually be an amazing life. I would love that. Just, just to sit there and like looking at your own land on your own wooden porch, with a beautifully engraved wheel gun. It was only 5 shots, but you can shoot them in the foot and go, I got 4 shots left, bitch, what you gonna do? And the mailman has to put his hands up and back away from your property. Yes. Yes.
I'm so glad you got dreams.
Did you get Jehovah's Witnesses over there?
Oh God, yeah.
Shoot them in the foot as well. 4 shots left, you blooming. Get away. And I have to back off with their crazy ass hats and their books. Yes. I would love it.
Well, yeah, all except for that breaking the law thing. We would love to have you, man.
Not actually shoot them in the foot, shoot at their foot, like you see in the movie. So you see the bit of dirt go up in the air.
Oh sure, yeah.
Like in Dirty Harry when he's shooting at the hat.
But I was also talking about the hell raise all the way across the country in a Charger or Challenger.
I do not encourage anyone to break the law in the mighty country of the United States of America.
Don't break the law in any country, folks, that you happen to find yourself in.
Unless you're in England.
Oh, is that where it's okay to break the law?
No, I'm just trying to stir shit now.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks for coming on, and thanks for sharing your dreams and your abilities with us. I do appreciate it.
I get so passionate about that. My horse would be called Daisy, and she would be 16 hands.
Mm-hmm. Mine would be named Dexter. Only because I had a horse named Dexter when I was growing up.
Oh, that's nice.
Yep.
I never had a horse when I was growing up.
Got struck by lightning.
I did have a pet budgie, but it died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. I shouldn't have trod on it in the first place. Anyway, what you do as a child.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, my dog used to be able to let me ride on it. I thought my budgie could. But alas,
no such luck.
A slipper. I'll see you later on.
All right, buddy. Take care.
God bless. Thank you for your time.
You bet. Oh, man. Sometimes I don't know where to go with those. But that's the type of guy he is.
Hello, Jim.
Hello, Easton. How are you, my friend?
I am good. How are you?
I'm just fine. Let me change your lower third here, and we'll get you right up on the screen.
And surprising, tonight I actually want to talk about the topic.
Do you really? Cool.
Yeah.
Talk away, man.
Oh, dog, we're not doing this tonight. No. Okay, go lay down. We're not doing this again.
While you're messing with your dog, I got to say hello to Dirty D's. How you doing? Lee the Nerd, welcome to the show. Jim, Above and Beyond Drones, good to see you again, my friend. Have I missed anyone else? Seems like half of my show I'm worried about missing people. Andy from We Dig Metal Detecting. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I don't know if we finished our...
I was actually typing in your chat, and then Not a Great Gamer is just like, well, can I have you? He's saying, do you have anybody waiting? I was like, oh, I better not be working on that because I'm gonna have to hit the exit button whenever he pulls me up. So
Homesteading with the Herberts. Good to see you. Welcome to the show. Okay, now let's get back to what you were saying. You want to talk about the subject. Awesome.
yeah, for once.
Well, what do you
Yeah,
got?
so me and my friends, we actually have a bike shop in his backyard. I'm trying to pull up some of the pictures. I'm not even gonna count. I have a lot of bikes, and he has a lot of bikes. We restore them, fix them up. The oldest one he owns is a 1958 Western Flyer.
Cool.
I think I own the second oldest, which is a 1960s Schwinn Twin, which I'm trying to find a picture of, but I scrolled too far. I don't know how in the world I'm going to show it with this, but
Well, don't worry. What did you say it was? A 66?
Not. It was a 60s.
Oh, 60s. Schwinn what?
Yeah.
Twin?
Twin. It's a tandem.
Sure.
And yeah, so that's probably like the coolest bike that I have. And then also I'll have to tell this story later, but I have, oh brother, I think it's an 80s. It's another Schwinn, but it's like I don't even know what it's called. I believe it's from the 80s, but it's one of those that the handlebars look like a ram's horns. So like they come out and they bend down.
Yeah, that's what we used to typically just refer to as 10 speeds, honestly. Back in the day.
Yeah, that's what it is. It is a 10-speed.
Did yours look something like this?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
The paint's a little bit more faded, and the seats don't have any color, but
sure.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, not an actual representation of the one he owns.
No. Oh, if I showed you a representation of it, there'd be if anybody here is a history geek, kind of like I am, they would be offended by the pictures that I have of that bike because it doesn't look too whoopee. Yeah, and then I think that I have one other bike that's old. I think I only have 3 old bikes.
Mm-hmm.
I think, except for one that I might be getting from my grandpa. But I don't know. Oh, never mind. I'll talk about that later. But I have a bike that my son. Dog, go lay down, bro. I'm trying to talk here. Okay, thank you. That dog. He's trying to knock my camera over. But I have one bike. My Sunday school teacher gave it to me last year. It's the only bike that I have that's operational because it's the only bike I've had enough money to fix.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's an old Japanese bike. It's a Nishiki. I have no clue what model it is, but it's from Japan, and it is very old, and it's very cool. I love riding it because the thing is that bike is easier to ride than my mountain bikes in the lowest gears.
Really?
Because that bike, the way they built it, I love it. Because whenever I'm on flatland or I'm going downhill, I put my mountain bike in the highest gear to go as fast as I can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I could beat my mountain bike on that.
Wow.
It's built just right. It's single gear, but it will, if you are trying to go fast, it will make you go fast. And if you're going up a hill, it's a little hard, but like it will get you up the hill. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, it is perfect. The gears on it are perfect. Gear on it.
Sweet.
I love that bike. And I mean, other than the one time it tried to kill me, but other than that, it's fine. See, the pedals are lower than I thought they were. And I went to turn, and I didn't really turn the wheel. I just kind of leaned it in the turn. I was turning around in the middle of the street and hit my pedal on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And the bike came to a dead stop, and there's a nut. It's not, see, the mountain bikes nowadays, if you fly forward, it's just, that neck from the handlebar. It was the neck from the handlebar in the head of a bolt.
Oh.
And I my chest slammed right into that, and I was down. All I know is I remember looking at the logo on the front, and it was upside down. I realized I was upside down. I was like, oh, that's a problem.
Yeah. This can't be good.
Yeah, and I was like, well, crud. So I got back up, and I was just like, well, ouch, and then rode off. But yeah, and then after that, I think that's all my old bikes except for the one that my grandpa owns that I'll most likely be getting eventually.
But you find
Um,
yourself handy as it comes to as bicycles are concerned, right?
yeah, for the most part. There's sometimes our work that we do is completely redneck engineering.
Oh well,
Um,
sure. Dude, the reason I ask is because that warms my heart because we used to work on bikes all the time when I was a kid, rebuilding them and modifying them. And there was only one bike I did not modify, and it was my favorite bike I've ever owned. It was a Schwinn. You want to guess what Schwinn it might have been? And yes, it was
ten
uh,
speed.
it was 60s. Nope. I'll give you
Oh, 60.
one more guess.
Was it the Schwinn Twin?
No,
Or was it the Roadster?
no.
Oh gosh.
It
Uh,
was. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. Oh, come
I
on.
say, it's not the Roadster. Or no, not the Roadster. The Stingray.
No, it was the
Oh,
orange
really?
crate. Have you ever seen one
Okay.
of those?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool. And actually, the shift on that kind of looks like a stick shift
Yeah.
on that bike. That is what my 10 speed has.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
that
it's a
is
little
old
bit
school.
small. It's smaller on it. I think it is. I haven't looked at that thing in a long time, but I haven't looked at it in detail. I mean, we just moved it. That's a story for later, but
Yeah.
we decided to move it into my crawl space. I have so many bike stories, crashes and stupid things that I've done.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I have some from today. Good grief. But anyway, so yeah, see here, my grandpa, him and I restored a bike last summer together, and that was awesome. So he used to work for TWA. I'm sure you probably know what that is.
Transworld Airlines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he used to work there. He used to work in the paint department, so he used to paint all the airplanes. And so they didn't really. I guess I don't really know what it was, but they had bikes back then, and that's how they would go around the airport. And he has his bike from whenever he worked at TWA.
Really?
He still has it. Yeah.
Wow.
It's got a metal box on the back that says TWA. I don't know if they built the bikes themselves or what, but like I know they painted it themselves because like the paint on the bike got on the chain and all that. And if it was from a bike company, it would not have gotten on the chain.
Exactly.
There's just like a few. I mean, even the old ones, they still were very careful about them, and I know that because I have several old ones, and the paint is not on the chain or on the chain guard or anything.
Right.
And there's not even a spot on it that for a brand. It doesn't even have a logo on it. But towards the front, not where the logo would go, but towards the front, it also says TWA. So I'm wondering because they built airplanes, so I'm sure that they had. I'm wondering if they built their own bikes. I have to do some research, and I'm probably never going to find it. But I think they might have built their own bikes.
That would be cool.
Yeah. That means that I might get a custom whenever I'm older. So anyway, this bike was just sitting in the garage and needed work and all that. It was just in a little crevice where you could barely see it, and nobody could fit back there to look at it, especially me because I'm an elephant. But
dude, you got to stop that.
I
heard you beating up on yourself in the multi-panel, and it's like you got to stop that.
Hey, I got to be honest, man. I got to be honest. There's
Well,
no
I mean,
reason to lie.
It's okay to recognize, but I just wouldn't keep berating yourself. I mean, come on.
I make jokes about it. I don't care. Although my dad said that if I lose 50 pounds before December, that he's gonna buy me one of those piano keyboard thingy-majiggers.
Oh.
I was like, you really know me well. So I got to get to the push-ups. So
yeah, and just
anyway, yeah.
You ought to try the side diet. You know what that is?
I have no clue.
That's when you're eating and you suddenly go. Now most of us keep going because it tastes so damn good, but it's also the fork drop because usually the fork hits the table. If you could stop and not look at look the rest of the food on your plate, push it away. If you did that for every meal, I know you'd stop dropping pounds. Because the body knows when it's full. It absolutely does. And what we do is we continue because it's just so damn tasty.
Yeah.
You got to learn to stop.
See, and this is one thing. I learned this from my dad. I did this trick one time, and it actually worked. See, I never believed him because, what teenager believes their dad?
Right.
But so he told me that to take a bite and like chug some water and then do that through your entire meal. I did, and so my grandma, this was like, oh, I guess I wasn't a teenager then because it was 2 years ago. So anyway, she made 5 chicken nuggets. And it was she didn't make them, but it was just leftovers from McDonald's that they didn't eat. And so she put them in the little cook oven thingy, miniature metal oven. I don't really know what it's called.
Like a toaster oven?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't know. This makes things really good. So I don't know what anything in the kitchen's called except for the fork, spoon, and knife. That's all I know.
I used to say that about exhaust manifolds when it would cook our meals in the military.
I have no clue what that is, but
well, think about C rations and MREs, meals ready to eat in the military.
Yeah.
What we used to do, most of them were heat resistant pouches, and we didn't have the equipment to heat up water. So what we would do is we would reconstitute them because a lot of them would take water and you'd have to mix them up. Then you throw them on an engine block, which we had plenty of, and that's how you heated up your food.
I saw this in a TV show, and I kind of wanted to try it one time. It's probably not going to work. Cooking a steak on the engine.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I'd want to do that.
I want to try it sometime. Although I'm probably gonna be going down the highway and get pulled over. It's like, you had a steak wrapped in aluminum foil down about 2 miles back. Oh, sorry, officer.
I'd be more worried about a grease fire.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Like I told you about that grease fire 2 days ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you don't want that underneath your hood, man. That's for sure.
Oh no. Especially if you don't have a fire extinguisher in the car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I was saying, my grandpa's bike from TWA, and he rode hundreds of miles on that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had my mountain bike up there that weekend, and so my grandma, I let her borrow it to go up to the garden and go get some stuff, and it's actually built with a cargo rack, and I splurged with my very low amount of money, done, and I bought this cargo rack that can hold like 180 pounds. I'm never gonna have 180 pounds on my bike, but I was like, you know what, it's worth it. So
better to have and not need than need not have.
One that can hold 20 pounds.
Yeah, better to have and not need than need and not have.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I was like, it locks up the suspension on it. The back suspension was like, who cares? I bottom it out anyways. Now that is the truth. I do bottom it out sometimes, especially on hills, but not always.
Mm-hmm.
I used to actually bottom it out, and I was like, well, okay, that's a problem. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so she rode it up there, and then we went inside, and I literally just told my grandma, I was like, now that Grandpa saw you riding the bike, maybe that'll bring it faster for us to get that bike restored in the garage. Never did I think that 5 minutes later, Grandpa was going to come in the house and be like, "Hey, Easton, come over here." I was like, "Okay." Walked over there, and he had the sawhorse pulled, or the saw table pulled out, and the bike was sitting in the middle of the garage. I was like, "Oh yeah." So we did most of the bike then. It was the last day before they left for vacation. And we did everything except we went to re-grease the bearing balls in it, and we couldn't figure out how to put it back together. So we went back inside, and he slept on it. And the next morning, before I was awake, he went out and re-put it back together, and then they left. So the day they were coming back, I just kind of let it sit because I forgot about it. Whenever they came back, about 20 minutes before they came back, I remembered about it. I was like, I want to see if I can put it back together before they come back. And I put the tires back together, and I didn't remember how to put the back brakes that are controlled by the pedals.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember how to put those back together. And there was just this random piece of metal. I was like, I don't know where that goes, but I'm just going to screw this together. And whenever they came back, it's like, well, you put it back together except for the brakes, so we fixed that real quick, and then it worked perfectly.
Sweet.
So yeah, I don't even know where the pictures are for that. But yeah, that bike's awesome. And then other than that, it's just mountain bikes that I have. I don't even remember how many of those I have. I have one that my neighbor gave to me, and I was an idiot and took the whole thing down to the frame. And the only thing left is the actual pedal, like the bar that holds the pedals on.
Crank?
That's in the frame.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my other grandpa, we built this contraption out of an old, I guess it was a sawhorse or something. I don't really know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
We turned it into a bike painting station thing, where we just basically flip it over, and we found at Lowe's this stick, and it looks like something like a replacement, like on one of those push brooms.
Mm-hmm.
The pole, it looks like something to replace that, or
Sure.
screw onto a mop, except it's just wood. So
Yeah.
And we cut the top off of that and cut a hole on a board and glued it together and screwed it on. And then we can actually just slide the bike on with the hole for the seat pole.
Sure.
And so I got we sanded it completely down. And then I went in with spray paint and painted it. And then winter came. And I was like, well, crud. So I haven't worked on it since. I have about probably 20 coats of spray paint to still put on it. Not including the clear coat. Because, you see, there's still scratches in it from whenever I made mistakes. I'm trying to cover them up.
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking about doing, I'm going to try to do at least 10 more coats. Because it's going to take a lot of paint to cover everything up. If that doesn't work in the areas where it's scratched, I'm going to go with the grain of the metal and sand it out, hopefully, and then repaint those areas. Because if I just cut out those areas, it shouldn't be too bad.
Well, you could always get some automotive spot putty.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that would get the
Thank you.
Yeah, that and a small squeegee, and you just dab it on there, smooth around right all over the same level as the metal, so it fills in the scratch, and then you just take maybe some 220 or some 330 over it just to smooth it out when it dries, and then it'll take paint. You won't even see it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's a hell of a lot better than trying to respray everything, but
yeah. Thank you. I'll have to do that. And then I have to try to remember how to put the bike back together. Because it's been over a year. So
they're all pretty much the same, so it shouldn't be that difficult. You'll pick it up.
Yeah.
Especially if it doesn't have a tumbler brake, which is what you're talking about inside the rear axle.
Oh my gosh, that's what the old tandem has too.
Yeah. Well, they're not that difficult, really. They're not.
Yeah. Aren't they called disc brakes?
No, they have disc brakes. If you see a disc on the outside of the I can find one for you. But if you see a disc on the outside, and there's a small caliper that squeezes on that, not around the rim. You've seen those. Those are just the scissor rim brakes, but they've got a small caliper on, and it'll just be a silver ring around about that size around your axle. That's a disc brake. Now, the one I'm talking about is what do they call that? It's a freewheeling brake or something like that, where you've got a small bar that comes, the lower bar. Let's say your axle's here. You've got a lower frame rail that runs, it's really the swing arm that runs over to the crank. And you've got a silver bar that actually is attached to your rear hub, your rear tire hub. Well, that bolts on with a little clamp around the frame rail. That's a coaster brake. I just now remember what that's called. It's called a coaster brake.
I've never seen one of those.
Oh, you haven't?
The tandem that I'm talking about, that old 60 tandem, it's disc brakes. And whenever and those brakes don't work. So whenever we go to fix those, see, I have several bike mechanic Facebook groups that I'm in, and I made a post in one. I was like, any tips for working on disc brakes? And I was like, don't. Because supposedly you can chop your finger off. And I was like, oh, nice. So.
Well, it doesn't sound right. I mean, anything's fixable. Don't let everybody scare you away from fixing
stuff. I
have
to find a way to do it without chopping my finger off. Yeah. Because I would prefer to keep all 10 fingers.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a great example. When we rebuilt the tractor, which is a 1960 Ford 971 Rowcroft. Yeah, beautiful. In fact, I'll show you it in pieces in my garage, actually. Boom, there she is.
Wow.
It needed it's
that
diesel.
Looks like an old farm mall.
No, it's here it is put together. That'll give you a better idea of how it looks
Oh yeah, that's a
today.
Ford. That's a Ford.
Oh yeah, yep, 1959 or 60. Unfortunately, the serial number is obliterated, so we can't see it. They put it right underneath the battery for some stupid reason, and then not only water, but anytime a battery would die and leak out on it, the acid would just tear it up. So we
Yeah.
can't tell exactly what year it is, but most of the parts on it have 59 and 60 stamped on them. So we surmised that it was in 1960. At any rate, where was I going with that? Oh, that needed a new fuel pump. Or I needed rebuilt one because it blown up on the inside, and they made rebuild kits. But when we took it apart, and I did the same thing because I'd never had one of those apart ever. So I read up on it, and everybody's saying, "Oh, it's got to be like hospital conditions to do this in, no dust, no specks, negative, air pressure, all that kind of stuff." Because if you get so much as a dog hair as you're reassembling that inside there, they said it'll just tear it apart. And
Oh well, that's a problem because if I have to do that, well,
no,
I've
no, no,
got
no,
two
no.
dogs.
No.
Oh
You don't have to worry about that. But for this one in
yeah.
particular, I was just like you. I vapor locked on it for a while. It's like, well, I don't want to jump into this and then screw it up royally because you can't find one used for $500. And but I just thought, screw it. I just jumped in, rebuilt it, and it turned out to be so much easier than it was. And that's what you got to do sometimes. Is
Yeah.
just jump in and not worry
Yeah.
about all the people who are pre-frightened, for
Yeah.
lack of a better term.
Mhm.
Oh, let me
Yeah.
just say hello to some folks, Easton, real fast. I saw Tony from Viewed This jumped in. How you doing, Tony? Jelly Duck 100. Good to see you, my friend. Who else was it up here that I saw jumped in of late? Oh, Tech for Your Needs. How you doing, buddy? And there we go. All right. I'm sorry. So where were we?
So, I have two more bikes, and actually have one other project that I forgot about to tell you, and then I think I'm done. But I have a few other stories after that, but I shouldn't. I may not. I
Well,
may
we
save
got
them.
we got to cut it short tonight because we're 7 minutes over.
Yeah. So I'll cut it short.
Okay.
I'll try to anyways. I like to talk, but I have a new tandem that I'm going to turn into a cargo. I'm going to put a cargo rack on it, just like the one I have already,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be able to. I'm going to put 2 trash cans on it, and I'm doing what I have on my main mountain bike, and I'm going to where I can actually change the different types of beds on them.
Mm-hmm.
Put a flat bed, put one like my friend has, because we build kind of redneck, bike beds.
Sure.
So I plan on making it to where I can switch them out, and then I plan on doing the same thing on my mountain bike, which is an ozone. And I've got the trash can zip tied onto it, except some dingle dork decided to break my bike last year.
Oh.
So we were working on it, so it was sitting in the carport before we moved into the sheds. And they came and they cut the end of the brake cord off. So I still had brakes, but they cut the end of it off. And when we went to tighten it, not thinking, it unraveled up the whole line.
Mm.
So we went to replace it, and we put a new brake cord in, and I squeezed the brake, and it snapped inside of the actual lever. And I was like, well, crap.
When you say by cord, you mean it by cable?
Yeah, the brake cable.
Brake cable. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm not. I don't know. I'm
no,
tired.
that's okay. That's okay. I just got lost on there for a minute. I'm like, by cord.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm with you.
Yeah. So I have to bring it into a bike shop because at this point we're out of brake cables for it, and see they did the same thing to my friend's bike, and yet somehow it survived, but mine it just is completely destroyed itself, and so it's been sitting in my backyard. Now the chain isn't on, which that's an easy fix.
Yeah.
Tires are flat, and it's just, ugh, that bike's a mess. And then one other quick story, and I'll be done in less than a minute, 2 minutes. So,
Relax.
There's this wagon. I'll try to show it to you. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can see it, I guess.
Yeah, we can see it. Is that an old radio flyer?
Wagon, yeah. It's actually a 2010 radio flyer.
Oh, okay.
But so we had it full of walnuts, okay, and so it probably had more weight in it than it was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the neighborhood kids who was hanging out with us, you see, we're not very popular, but whenever kids' bikes break down, like they're all running towards us. So one of the kids, while he was waiting, he sat in the wagon, and the back axle fell off while he was sitting in the wagon.
Nice.
So we just kind of let it, fall apart. And then next summer, I was like, you know what, we need to do something to this. So I put $80 into that wagon. We brought it to my grandpa's, and he helped us out. We reattached everything. We didn't have the support for the back, but it's fine. We fixed it with some baling wire.
Mm-hmm.
But what he did is he put all new bolts and washers and all that in it. Reattached the handlebar, straightened out the handlebar, and we put brand new tires on it. It looks awesome compared to what it did look like. So yeah, we basically built that thing from the ground up, and my grandpa only he helped us put it kind of all back together.
Mm-hmm.
Because we didn't have the parts to do it. He helped us put it all back together, but he only put the front half on. We put the back axle on by ourselves, because we didn't have the proper stuff for it.
Yeah.
So we did that ourselves. Yeah, we were very impressed with ourselves. Even though we had to get some help, we were still impressed that we actually put something together and wasn't sitting as a pile of junk. But yeah, I'll save the rest of the stories for some other time. I'll bring this back up, I guess, if that's all right.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna throw some things at you if you don't mind before we do call it a night.
Right.
Keep going, keep learning from Grandpa, because it sounds like you're on the right track. That's exactly what I did for my boy, and he's in the chat. And in fact, he was talking about we actually used JB Weld on that injection pump because it was cracked, and it's still running today. Knock on wood. But the key is don't ever be afraid to dive into anything. And I'm going to give you a really good example, something I'm very proud of. He and I just over the weekend bought and installed a full lift in his new shop. Here's a photo. Here's a photo of it. Now neither one of us had ever installed a full lift. And if you look in the back corner there's that tractor again.
Oh yeah.
Yep, she's sitting out there right now, waiting for her next job. But it's things like that where you just dive in, follow instructions, learn from people who know how to do it, and just friggin' do it. That is actually the lesson I wanted everyone to at least come away with from this show. And who better than a young man who already likes to work on stuff and get his hands dirty and dive in when you don't know, what you're doing. That's how you learn, man. That is exactly how you learn. But it helps you out.
My hands definitely get dirty because I come home every single night after working on bikes. Not recently though, because we just had to move bike shops, which that's once again a story for another night.
Yes.
And every single time that I actually work on a bike though, even if it's just changing a tube, I still get my hands filthy, and I walk in and my parents just like, bro, seriously. I have to go wash up before I have to actually do a deep wash of my hands before 1 hour of scrubbing before I can eat dinner.
Oh, here's another helpful tip for you. Lava soap.
Okay. Isn't that walnut stuff?
I don't think it's made of walnuts. I think they say it's made out of volcanic pumice. But man, that stuff will clean your hands.
Yeah, there's this one, because see, I actually that's also another story. But anyway, where my mom works, it's the bus garage for our town, for the school district, and so they had this soap because I got to help them work on some buses for one summer. The glories of having a mom that works at a bus garage, but they had this soap there, and I would have to use that before I got in my mom's car. Otherwise, I was going to have to walk home. But it was this tan soap, but the whole of a walnut, that black stuff, they grinded it up really, really small, where you can't even see it, but you use it, and it gets in that, it gets all your grease, it gets all the grease out and all that. And then after that, if whatever doesn't get out from the walnut stuff, you just go home and grab some Dawn soap and use your Dawn soap. That's very much how I washed up after changing fuel pumps and oil
Yep.
pumps and all that. So
Yep. That's cool. I'll have to look some of that up.
yeah, I don't remember what it's called. I'm sure they still have it there. So I
Oh
think they
yeah.
had the lava soap there too. So
Yeah. Yeah. Lava's the stuff, man. I mean, they do sell all
yeah,
kinds of great hand cleaner, but I've been using lava for probably the better part of 30, 40 years. And man, that stuff is just wonderful, especially if you've got like a fingernail brush. And because, they've got those small brushes where you can scrub your fingernails, that will just take everything off and you'll be clean as a whistle when you're done. Well, listen, dude, thanks for coming on and
thanks for having me.
keep working on stuff. Keep diving in. Just learn about it. That's exactly what makes my son not afraid of tackling any sort of job. And you will really number one, you'll benefit financially because you'll be doing things for yourself that
Oh
otherwise you'd
yeah,
have to pay a whole lot of money for, someone else to do it.
oh
And
yeah.
it
I've
just
already experienced that.
yeah, and just the pure satisfaction of being able to accomplish it for yourself. So keep doing it, buddy.
You come closer to your stuff that you have whenever that happens. Although that also makes you a little bit more paranoid whenever there's a tornado warning.
Yeah.
I used to be a lot more paranoid than I am now about tornadoes. Like, ah!
Oh, that'll ease up as well.
Yeah. Oh, it has. I'm like now, because see, oh, here, I'll tell that. Never mind. I'll tell that story later. 'cause
Okay.
I'm tired.
Okay.
You're an hour later, so I'm sure you're dead.
Yeah, it's 11:18 now, so I'm about ready to
Yeah.
hit the bed.
Yeah.
Well, Easton, thanks for coming on, man. It's a pleasure as
Thanks for
always,
having me.
and we'll talk again.
Mm.
Have a good evening, bud.
You too.
Great kid. I love hearing any story about people who are actually uh, taking matters into their own hands, trying to fix it. Now, I wouldn't say go in completely uninformed. Learn a little bit about what it is you're trying to do before you actually try to do it, and you're going to be so much better off. You guys have it so easy today. You can look up, and I do it now. You can look up YouTube videos on people who've already done it prior to, and that is such a blessing. The age of information has its really high points. I want to say hello first of all to JD Tremaine. I didn't see you earlier, bud. Welcome to the show. And of course, my boy Champworks Garage. How you doing, bud? But that is something that will serve you well, and it makes it so much easier nowadays to take care of those jobs that you normally wouldn't even tackle. And yeah, you can pay other people to do some things, but if I only had, well, I do have that money, but think of all the money I would have had to spend to do some of the things that I've done over the years, and it boggles the mind. So keep that in mind. Well, join us tomorrow night, guys. Oh, I want to say one more time if I still have it up. Yes, tonight's subject was brought to us by Outdoorsy Gal O. Thank you, Chrissy, for bringing all those topics. She's fantastic. Her and John have been feeding me just a whole bunch of things. Chrissy's got a great channel. She is just that. She is the Outdoorsy Gal O. Tonight, that's going to do it for me. I want to thank everybody who came on, both Not a Great Gamer and Easton Music Ministries. You guys in the chat, thanks for being here. Those of you who are watching this after it's been processed, I want to thank you for being here as well. And I want to leave you with this. Make sure you treat others the way you want to be treated. If we all did that, this world would be a better place. Have a good night, folks. We'll see you live.